Hi everybody and welcome back. This is part 2 of loops. The last thing we looked at for next loops, and we looked at counting from 1 to 10 on the screen, and we also looked at counting down from 10 to 1. I've changed my program back so it counts up. So if we just run the program, it counts from 1 to 10, and I've changed the size of the font so it will fit more in that label. Now basically what I want to do is, rather than run the program, rather than have it going across the screen, this time I want it to come down the screen. Okay, and that's quite simple to do actually. All we need to do add onto that caption expression is that we need to say that we want to carriage line return feed basically. So ampersand and the command is VB CLRF. Okay, oh sorry, my mistake, CRLF. So if we just run the program, and it counts down the screen. Okay. Now, at this point in time, this loop isn't really doing a great deal. So we're gonna have some control over the loop. I'm gonna set the program up so the user has more control over the loop. Okay. So I'm just gonna move a few things around and add a text box. I'm not really worried about how the actual display looks. Okay, I'm going to call my text box txt number, and I'm just going to get rid of that text within the box. Okay, now behind our command run button, I'm going to declare another variable called int num. I'm going to add it onto that declaration. So I've got two declared variables now. I've got x, which controls the loop, and int num, which is, well, you'll find that out in a minute. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a program that takes the number from the text box, so the user puts a number in there, runs the program, and instead of counting from 1 to 10, I'm going to make it count to whatever the user puts in. Okay, so I'm just going to alter the look of the form slightly, and I'm just going to get rid of that count to, and then whatever the user puts, it counts to whatever in the text box. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So I'm just going to change a couple of font sizes so you can see it clearer. Going back to the code. So the first thing I've got to do is I've got to make this int number equal to a integer and make it equal to whatever's in the text box. So I've got to use that predefined function we've used quite a lot in previous videos called cint. So hopefully this is familiar to you. So int num equals cint. What are we actually converting? Well, we're converting whatever's in text number, and we're actually converting the text within it. Okay, and then instead of saying step up to 10, we can now say step up to int num. Okay, so I'm now replacing that actual fixed value with a variable. So if I run the program, if I put 5 in there, it'll count to 5. If I put 8 in there, it will count to 8. Let's stop that, run it again. Okay. Now then, what we can also add is a clear screen button and tidy this up a little bit and make it a bit more usable. And we can also add a start point if we wished. It's just a demonstration really to show you that loops can be controlled by the user as well. You've got to be careful with things like this, because what would be massively important in a situation like this is validation. So the user cannot put a ridiculous amount, or also that the user cannot put non-numeric characters. Okay, so one of the things we're going to look at in the next series of videos is adding some validation to this to prevent the user writing in the wrong values, and also writing in non-numeric values. In other words, if the user enters -5, it can't count from 1 to -5 in steps of 1. Our program needs to be able to validate that number and say that's not a valid number, enter something else. Okay, so that's the next thing in the series of videos. Okay, thank you.